Today we're going to bring you a review of a double disc set that was released by Digitsu on the Z guard taught by Bernardo Faria. The first disc starts off with Bernardo giving a brief introduction to the DVD, where he talks about when he first learned the half guard and how excited he was to learn it. This intro lasts about 3 minutes. Each technique will start off with a title screen that clearly describes the move that is about to be shown. While the video is clearly lit and each technique is explained well, I wish the techniques were shown right off the bat instead of going straight into explaining the technique and demonstrating it for several minutes, and then showing multiple angles of the move in succession at the end. This isn't a big deal, but it's more of a personal preference for me. All throughout the explanation, there are multiple angles being shown, and it even does a picture-in-picture when you need to see something with more detail that the camera isn't showing. During the end of the technique, when it's being shown in the different angles though, it will freeze on certain parts of the move so you can see what's being done with grips or positioning that they think is important. Here's a sample of the most muffled audio in the DVD so you can hear how clear Bernardo speaks and how much better his English is getting.
Or I can still get his belt from here as well, right? And guys, just come back there. When you are in this situation here, we always have to watch out because when you grab the lapel like this, there is one way to break this grip. He's pulling this lapel up. And he pulls this lapel up, I lost the grip.
This is a very situational DVD with multiple scenarios for each move and all of the techniques being able to chain together. It's a very different approach than a bit of the instructionals we've been seeing lately, and it's a good change. A lot of the older instructionals have techniques thrown together with no real direction behind them, but this one is laid out very well with a good game plan. Bernardo is known for having a great game plan and sticking to it and has won quite a few world titles with that plan. The packaging is what you would expect with Digitsu's latest offerings. A nice and sturdy 4-panel dual-side printed heavy cardstock with photos featured by Preston Smith Photography. On the inside left panel it has a write-up from Bernardo, and the right inside panel features testimony from various Alliance black belts and one of the founders, Fabio Gurgel. Behind the two inner panels that hold the DVDs is the printed technique list for reference though. Basically, Digitsu is bringing you Bernardo's entire bottom game for a low price of $69. The production and packaging are both solid and most of the techniques are easy for everyone to understand. Digitsu even throws in 6 extra techniques from people like Lucas Lepri, Gianni Grippo, and Admar Barbosa, all in the bonus section of the second disc. For me, Digitsu is always a go-to when it comes to instructional videos due to the quality of the techniques being shown and their packaging. This one is no exception, and if you're a fan of Bernardo's game, then this is a must-buy for you. Combine it with the Faria Guard DVD, and you've got yourself a great game to try and conquer. As always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to check out Digitsu.com and stay tuned for the sample technique.
I left alone. My mind was blank. I needed time to think. Get the memories from my mind.
Guys, on this situation right here, what's gonna happen is I'm trying to play my Z guard here, but my opponent's gonna grab my lapel with this hand, right? And with the other hand, he's gonna try to grab my lapel right here, like a little bit low right here, right? Normally when he does that, what he wanna do is maybe like stretch this leg, maybe start crossing his knee or stretch the leg right there, this and that. But guys, every time my opponent controls my lapel with this hand, he has to be very careful because I can easily attack him here with a very hard submission. So what I'm gonna do is, I felt he had this lapel and I was thinking about free my leg to go to single leg, but now he has this grip here. I could break this grip, right? But before I think about break this grip, I'm gonna think about submit him. So what I'm gonna do, in just one time, I'm gonna control his wrist I'm gonna move out a little bit. I'm gonna open his elbow, and now I'm gonna put my both hands on his elbow, and I'm gonna pull against me, working the wrist lock right here, right? So let's see again. He's on my half guard. I'm gonna control his wrist, pull towards me a little bit, open his elbow. I'm gonna come up, both hands on his elbow, and pull, and I can get a wrist lock. Always remember that wrist lock is that type of position that same way we did in the knee bar, I cannot do like easy, I have to go hard. That's why I don't use too much on training, because it's kind of dangerous to hurt my training partners. So I keep it more for competition. So what I would do, control his wrist, bring him towards me, open his elbow, come up, both hands behind his elbow, and pull towards me. Guys, once again, I'm on the Z guard, right? Now what's gonna happen is my opponent is gonna make a grip on my lapel with this hand, and with the other hand, he's gonna still make a grip in the same lapel. When he does that, it's kind of hard for me to keep the distance to try to free this leg, right? Guys, I could easily try to focus on breaking this grip, right? But before I do that, I'm gonna try to make him tap. So who's on top has to be very careful when they make this grip on my lapel, because if they make a small mistake, I can tap them. And right now, for example, I would say they make some mistake. They have this hand like very low right here on the lapel, right? His hand should be a little bit over. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna control his wrist and bring his wrist towards me. Once I did that, with my other hand, I'm gonna open his elbow and I'm gonna come up. Now I'm gonna put my both hands behind his elbow and I'm gonna push, right? And I'm gonna finish him with the wrist lock. So let's see again. I'm here, hand on his wrist, bring it towards me, open his elbow, come up, both hands behind his elbow. Guys, always remember that wrist lock is a very dangerous submission. So that's why I don't do it too much on training, because it's the type of submission that I can't go easy, I can't go slow. I have to go really hard. So sometimes my opponent doesn't even have time to tap. So I keep it more for competitions. I don't do too much on training. So I couldn't do slow, I would need to do fast like this, look. So it really works well, and it has to be like a surprise for my opponent. So every time he grabs the lapel like low here, I can try this choice from the Z guard.